Alright, in this video we're going to talk about adding a new user. Just want to go over this so that you're familiar with setting up users and how that works. So first of all, we're just going to go right to our tabs at the top here. We have our users tab. We're going to click on that. Right now currently we can see that we only have our one administrator that was set up on original setup with TAW Concepts. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add a user. And what we're going to do here is we're going to click Add New User. And you can see that we have a field information that we can set up. This one we're going to set this up as, we're going to call this Jake Smith. We're going to put a phone number in for him. We'll leave his secondary number blank. We do need to make sure that we have a correct email address for Jake, because that's going to be important, because once you activate him, it's going to send him the email towards setting up his password for the first time, similar to how it's set up for you when you were receiving your first password for the first time. So let's make sure we get this in here. Address information, we'll leave that up to you if you want to put that in there. That information is optional. That's for if you wanted to track his address of where he lives, different things like that. Or you can put your shop address, whatever works for you. This will just be for different information if you want to make that available. City, where he's at, we'll say in this situation it's Des Moines. And we'll say Iowa. Now, any of that information is also optional as far as your city, state, and zip code. I just put that in there so that I can show you what it looks like. And then on your roles, when you click on that, you're gonna have three different choices. You're gonna have your administrator, estimator, or field manager. Now let's talk about this real quick. The administrator in REMS has access to everything. He will be able to see all the different plans. Anything that he is creating, anything that's been created, all different folders, has total access to everything, can remove an estimator and assign a new estimator to a job, which we'll talk about a little bit in further detail in the next videos. Estimator is going to have a little bit more limited role. They will be able to add jobs to builders that they have been assigned to in the past. And they can start working on a job. They just will not be able to make certain changes as far as global changes of changing anything as far as assemblies or inventory, anything that we don't want the estimator necessarily to mess with. So they in their menu, they are not even able to see assemblies, inventory, users, or QuickBooks settings. They pretty much have the dashboard tab, and then they're allowed to access the accounts that they have set up. So in this situation, we'll set Jake up as an estimator. One thing real quick, on Field Manager as well, Field Manager will be allowed to access anything on tablet. They will not be able to access anything in the web version. So if you set up a Field Manager, or if you set someone up as a Field Manager and they try to log into the web version, it will tell them that they only have ability to access the tablet. So something to keep in mind there. If you're wanting your Field Manager to have both estimator and field manager abilities, then just kick him up to estimator. These roles will work, any of the smaller roles will work for the role below it. So administrator can act as an estimator and a field manager. Estimator can act as an estimator and a field manager. So if you feel like that potentially they're going to need to be able to log into web, set them as an estimator, not just a field manager. But so in this situation, we're going to set Jake as an estimator. We're going to click on that. We're going to hit submit. Now when we hit submit, you can see this tab here shows that a user has been added successfully. But we have one more thing that we need to do. We need to enable Jake Smith as the so that his email will go out to him. So all you have to do is hit enable. And when we hit enable, we see that a tab comes up that says Jake Smith was enabled successfully. So that email has went out to him to set up his password and that type of thing and go through the process. So now one thing left here is that you can see right now that we still have the ability to delete this. We can delete Jake out of the system only at this point. Once Jake has actually started doing work into the system, you will be able to disable him only after that point, because he is actively involved with other jobs. Once he becomes involved with other jobs, the delete option will go away. Now, if for some reason Jake were to leave your company, you would be able to disable him and he would not be able to access REMS after that point. But until you have him removed from every job that he's been assigned to, he will never be able to be deleted out of the system. So he will just go into a disable mode. One other thing over here is that we can also see that the administrator, John Stark, does not have any option on here. We cannot delete or disable him. Now, once you were able to add another administrator, then John Stark will show that he can be disabled, because if you have one, or if you have two administrators, then both of them will show that they can be disabled, but only one can be disabled. So that way that you always have to actively have one administrator assigned to your company for those types of options, adding users and different things like that. So if for some reason you have an administrator, or you don't have an administrator anymore, like John was to leave, one of these other ones would have to have their role changed to administrator. I'll show you that real quick, just what that looks like. If you were to hit edit, we could go down to Jake here. We could change him to an admin. We can update his information. Now you can see that we have the ability to disable John because we have potential another administrator. So, and this would change to disable to once Jake has put in his password for the first time and been assigned a job for the first time. So that's how that works. Keeping these simple for you just so that you get an idea of how to add users. Very simple. Like I said, anytime you can disable any of these, or and you have the ability to add as many people into your company as you want to access. Now, like I said, though, with the estimators, which we'll switch Jake back to, they will only be able to see what you've assigned them to. So, and we'll talk about that further in the videos as well. So, hope you found this informative. If you do have any questions, feel free to contact us and let us know. Thank you.